Willie D Live.
What's up, family? There's a viral video of a woman who says life is hard and she needs a break. She says that her rent went up from $1,300 to $1,800. That is a $500 increase. She says she's even cut back on eating. She only has the necessities. She has a bed, she has a couch, she has a washer, a dryer, and she has a car. Life is hard. She says when you're poor, when you grow up poor, you don't catch a break. You don't get any breaks when you're poor. I grew up poor, and I got a few breaks. And I'm like what one might call public enemy number one. And I caught a few breaks. Some I took advantage of, others I didn't. Life was very difficult for me growing up. I do agree that it's hell being poor. It's hell because you don't get a lot of breaks. You don't get a lot of help. You don't have a lot of resources. But as long as you're breathing, you got action. And I do believe that God gave every single one of us a gift. All of us have talents, multiple talents. But the difference between a talent and a gift is, a talent is something that a lot of people can do. A whole lot of people can do. Okay, right? Let's say cooking. Most people can cook. And you can call yourself a cook. But a person who cooks very well is known as a chef. It's a different level. Chefs cook with not just love, but passion. And they bring style and design to cooking. You know, that's why they call it the culinary arts. You know, it's an art for a chef. There's a lot of people who can play basketball, but there's only a few who has a gift. I mean, who can shoot that ball 9 times out of 10 and make it go in the hole if they're uncontested. 9 times out of 10, they can shoot that ball from three-point line. Or they can make 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 free throws in a row. That's a gift. Let's get back to the woman in the video. Where does she live? Savannah, Georgia. Savannah is not cheap. It's one of the most expensive cities in Georgia. So, here's the deal, fam. One of the biggest reasons why most of us struggle financially is because we live above our means. She says she got a job. She was already paying $1,300 a month. She didn't have a lot of stuff in her house, but she had the essentials and she had an automobile. Don't know what the year was, make a model, but she was rolling. One of the biggest mistakes that we make in America is we overconsume and we try to keep up with the Joneses. And it's not hard to do when you're constantly bombarded with advertisements saying that you need to buy this and you know, you can put this on layaway, you can buy this with credit, you don't have to buy now, pay later. Everybody's constantly trying to one up each other. And then we got the social media. It's a lot. And it's a lot of pressure to try to just keep up with the Joneses, trying to fit in. It's a lot of pressure. $1,300 a month. That's too much money if you're poor. If you want to downsize, you need to downsize, and you don't want to be too deep in the hood, you want to live in a relatively safe neighborhood, you can spend less and get less, but at least you're being a relatively safe neighborhood, right? They have some properties, some apartment complexes that offer a lower rent, but you sacrifice amenities. They don't have the amenities that the newer properties have, but you're still right next door, you're across the street, you're in the same neighborhood as those newer properties. Perhaps she can look at her car. What kind of note does she have? Is the car paid off? Or does she have one of those $400, $500, $600, $700 car notes? If that's the case, perhaps she needs to look at public transportation. I'm just trying to think of a few things that you can immediately cut back on, right? Because a lot of us, if we cut back on our spending, we can start getting to a point to where at the very least we can live comfortably to pay our bills. I'm not saying living comfortably where you can go buy things. I'm saying at the very least, comfortable to me is first and foremost being able to pay my bills without worry, right? And also, I think the word comfortable is kind of tricky. I said that once when I was younger, and it was one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made to have that type of mentality. I don't like the word comfortable because when you get comfortable, you get relaxed, you become complacent. You're thinking that you got it made and you're not looking out, for the trouble spots. You oftentimes don't have money saved and tucked away for a rainy day. I go hard every day like I ain't got no other action, like ain't nothing else coming in. She said she had to cut back on snacks and cat food. Well, let's look at the snacks. Cutting back on snacks ain't that bad of an idea because it has health benefits, right? As far as the cat food, I got an easy solution to that. Get rid of the cat. You already got one mouth to feed that you're struggling to feed. Why would you bring in another mouth? It baffles the hell out of me. It's almost like a homeless person having a dog. Why you gonna put a dog through that, man? You already homeless. Why would you make the dog homeless? If you're struggling financially, especially if you have a job, I think the very first step should be to cut back on your expenses. Look at every single item in your budget and see where you can cut back. Take a look at the things that you don't need at all, like cat food and cats. Get rid of them. Cut it all the way out of the budget. And then take a look at your skills and how you can perhaps improve your skills or pivot your skills into another area where you can get some extra income. And I think also that everybody should have a side hustle. Everybody should have something besides their main gig, because anything can happen. No industry is 100% recession proof. Not one. I used to think the music industry was like that until 9/11. When 9/11 hit, I had a song that was ascending to the top of the charts. It's called Dear God. It was on its way. I was already in the mix. I was already in the rotation. And typically that's how songs work their way up the charts in the music industry. It start off in the mix, and then they start adding it to rotation. But I was right there on the cusp of being added to more stations. And when 9/11 hit, it shut everything down. And all of the stations just continued to play the songs that was in rotation and the older songs. No new songs were added for a long time. So no industry is recession proof. While watching old girl give her testimony, I felt her pain. I think a lot of people in America feels her pain. But guess what? As long as you're breathing, you got action. No more talk.